So we move now onto the 5 pillars of open academia. Maybe there's more, maybe there's less. So this offers a starting point for thinking more practically about how we can pursue and foster the activities and behaviour involved in open academia. So it's not just philosophy, it's practice too. The importance of these pillars is in part because the default culture is closed. It takes considerable commitment to engage in the path of openness. Richard Stallman, in many ways the figurehead of the free software movement, suggests if you focus your mind on the freedom and community that you can build by staying firm, you will find the strength to do it. So the commitment to the freedom of the information and the commitment to sharing that information with others can drive us and keep us clear in this journey. So the goal in many ways here is to remove the cultural norm of the ivory tower and replace it with an open Parthenon consisting of at least 5 pillars. And those 5 pillars are open access, in other words, the teaching materials, the research materials, the data, and the decisions of the university are recorded and made open to the public. Open formats, the materials that are made open to the public are provided in open formatted digital files. In other words, we don't need proprietary software in order to access and read the digital material. Open licensing, the materials are licensed such that others can remix and make use of those materials without restriction. Free software, in the production of these materials and the university work, we strive to use software which has freely available code, so free software. And that way we can modify and use the software, and also our students and our partners and colleagues and stakeholders and the general public can also use free software to access the material. And finally, open management. The university's activities are governed openly and transparently. Meetings are available, and staff decisions, reviews, etc., strategy documents are all managed openly, unless there's a particular reason, a notable reason for why they should be closed. So expressed as a creed, an open academic might consider a statement like this. As an open academic, I commit to providing open access to all my academic outputs, teaching, research and service, using open formats, open licensing and free software. I also commit to open management of my academic activities. Now, steps have been made towards this kind of university culture. For example, the Free Software Foundation has some very useful information, which is not unlike in its principles the 5 pillars I've proposed. The research produced as open access, course materials are open educational resources, university embraces free software and open standards, university's patents are readily licensed for free software, essential medicine and the public good, the university's network reflects the open nature of the internet. But the Free Software Foundation goes further to list specific criteria for an open university, and they produce report cards, and people can use these to audit universities and provide a report on their degree of openness. And there is much to be said for about universities participating in this and going down this path. It's also true that there's increasing transparency in higher ed in Australia, with the current federal government making notable steps towards providing central access to transparent data about university quality and student satisfaction. And indeed, there is wide acknowledgement by vice chancellors and key players in university that universities are fully committed to transparency. They're remarkably open via their websites, etc., etc. This, at least, is the claim of one of the VCs of one of the 40 Australian current universities, and all we're talking about then is being true to the kind of claims and statements that are made in theory but perhaps not in practice. So how do we make this change? It strikes me that in order to get from this the idealism towards something that works, there are at least three ways that it could be done. First of all, it is possible to go cold turkey. In other words, switch over fully and commit to a completely open approach. This may well suit, for example, new institutions, new projects, or institutions undergoing major reform or change. They could simply adopt an open charter as part of their modus operandi. More realistically, in many cases, it may be appropriate to undertake an iterative or progressive approach, particularly for existing institutions. They can shift towards making openist key performance indicators for each of the levels of the university and individual staff, and they can build this into strategic plans and develop roadmaps, such as ones that are already available about how they can move in this direction. A third strategy can be to undertake a cost-benefit analysis of the relative costs involved in using closed systems versus open systems. And this more rational process may well be useful for justifying these other two approaches by putting empirical evidence to these claims. So, thanks for listening. There's more on the Wikiversity page about this going naked openism and freedom introduction, and there will be video responses and text responses from others.